Yesterday we spoke about the work item management, how we do work item management in Azure DevOps. That is something what we spoke about. Today we'll continue with the same topic on the work item management. Now, yesterday we have created multiple work items. We saw what is backlog, what is a product backlog, what is a portfolio backlog, what is a backlog. Based on that, we have created epic, feature, user story, and task. These are the four things what we have created in Agile. Okay. Now moving forward, there are two more categories in Agile, that is bug, and the other one is issue. So my question to you guys, what exactly is the difference between a issue and a bug? Under which criteria you will be raising an issue and under which criteria you will be raising a bug? Anyone wants to pitch in? The question is simple, difference between issue and bug. When do we call this as an issue and when do we call it as a bug? Anyone wants to try? Yeah,
Maybe I could try.
yeah, please tell me.
So when you get a bug, you can report that bug to the developers, and that's when you do the bug. And then for issue, that's when um you assign a task to the developer or the DevOps engineer.
Perfect. Anyone else wants to try? I think someone else was also saying something.
Yeah, sorry, it's Victoria. I was gonna say, is a bug like something that's supposed to work and that's not working? And I'm not 100% sure what an issue is, but I think an issue is maybe something that's still outstanding or something.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for trying. Now, can we say this way, like suppose the shopping website option which we are taking right now, can I say that on my shopping website there is a product page, a child product page, and under the child product page there is a filter option which is not working right now. So as whatever, like if we expected to filter out based on price, but it's not filtering out based on price, is it a issue or is it a bug?
There's a bug.
Bug.
Okay, now let me give you a different example. Now the child product page itself is not responding. Is it a issue or is it a bug?
It's a bug.
It's a issue.
It's an issue.
It's an issue. Oh, sorry.
Issue.
Yeah. Okay, so when we say issue, the issue has major impact. Now, if we talking about the filter option not giving the right category filtration, that could be a bug, not an issue, because it's not impacting your business right now. And when I say the child page itself is down, that means no one can go and do shopping on your website right now. So that category of your that segment of your website is down currently. Now, if you just think of you are Amazon.com, just think of the impact which you will have all over the world. Okay, so that's an issue. A bug can be fixed later, but the issue is something needs to be fixed on priority. So that is where we have this P1 ticket category. When you follow the ITIL process, we got P1 ticket created. So that's a highest priority ticket created in which all the team members, all the respective team, they join the call and they start working on the issue to fix it. Okay, an issue is something you need to fix it then and there as soon as possible, because that has a major impact on your business and it could have a severe impact going forward. A bug, like just imagine a developer is working on something and he found out there is one module inside your source code which got depreciated and now it's no longer been used, but it's still there in your source code. So that could be a possible issue in the future, because that can open a backdoor entry for the hackers and things like that could happen. So that at that point of time, the developer is raising a bug that this is the package, it's not been getting used in the source code, but it's still there. This is something we need to either fix it, either update it, something needs to be done. So this can be taken in the next sprint, next iteration. You can easily, the developer will work on that next sprint and next iteration and try to fix it. The filter option could be taken in the next sprint. The example which I gave you, that it's not giving the right category, then that can be fixed in the next sprint. Immediate requirement, immediate working is not required. Wherein if you have an issue, if the product page itself is down, then there's no way, you have to stop whatever you're doing right now, you need to jump on it. A bug can be a potential issue in future. A bug can be a potential issue in future. Suppose the example which I gave you about the package which not the package which is not been used and no one saw it. Okay, at the end it got depreciated, it got outdated. Now it started opening uh, doors for the hackers, and suddenly you start seeing some kind of movement in your source code. Now that become your issue. Now immediately you have to go and fix that issue, or else it will impact your complete system. That is what happens in reality, guys. That's why we have package dependency scan and many scans, what we do, vulnerability scan, wherein we find out all these issues. Okay, so yeah, this is a classic example what is issue and a bug. Again, reiterating, issue is something which need to be taken care right that point of time because it has a business impact. Bug, it could be a potential issue in future, but that needs to be fixed. But you have time frame, like you can do it in the next sprint or iterations also. Okay, now the same thing can be captured in work item. Like if you are working on any issues or any bug or anything as such, it can be captured in your work item. You have a category called bug. Now this bug, like suppose as I said, filter option not working, this is potential bug. Now this get will assign to a developer. This is basically just have a new category called bug. Now this has multiple more steps. Okay, this has repro steps. Repro steps is nothing but it's a reproducibility steps. How did you find the issue? Like suppose, how did you find the bug? I am the developer, I found the bug. How did you find? Where exactly did you find? Which is the source code? Which is the module? All this, whatever detailed information you can give it, you can define it over here. The detailed information needs to be given over here, so that it's not that I will be working on this bug. There could be other developer who would be working, so we need to reproduce it. Like if that other developer is working and if he wants to reproduce that bug, how exactly he can do it. So basically that is what we are talking about over here. System info, on which system, what source code, what code framework, where exactly the things are deployed and things like that. So whatever information, max information you can give it, you need to give it over here. Discussion is the same thing what we had. Planning, resolve reason, and story point is also there over here. So the story point, I think we had a bit of confusion yesterday about the story point also. So story point could be in hours, could be in days. It totally depends upon the project, how your Scrum Master is doing the estimation calculation. But story point is basically is best defined. The efforts will take in order to work on this bug or user story. So the best definition of story point is that they represent the efforts to develop a user story or product backlog item, whatever it is. So when we say efforts, how do you calculate the efforts? So there could be multiple criteria: the amount of work to do, how much amount the complexity of the work. Now two bugs cannot have the same story point, guys. Understand this. One bug is very simple. You just need to go and replace the package with the updated package and run your application again. The other bug is something, the package is already depreciated and there are backdoor entry which got opened and it needs multiple, and it has impacted multiple modules. Now just see the two bug difference. One bug is very less, it takes very less effort and you will be able to fix it very quickly. The other bug has more complexity now, so the efforts will differ. So if you put the numbers like 1 2 3, this doesn't matter, the story point number doesn't matter, frankly speaking, and the hours and the days doesn't matter. How you calculate in the backdrop in your project, how you calculate your efforts, depending upon the amount of work, depending upon the complexity, and depending upon some sort of uncertainty, if there's any sort of risk involved. Okay, if you're doing it for a long term, even that needs to be considered. And all this calculation will give you the right story point. Numbers doesn't matter, whether you give it 1, whether you give it 1000, whether you give 2000, doesn't matter. How, what exactly that number is representing in the backend, that is something you need to think of. I have seen project wherein they have calculated the story point as hours. I have seen project where they have calculated the story point as days, but in the backdrop, that hours and days are calculated in a different way depending upon the complexity, the amount of work, and the risk which is there, which is required to work. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's not about days, it's not about hours, it's about the amount of work you're doing, the amount of complexity you're working with, and things like that. Everything together forms a story point. Okay, so if I want to give you in simple terms about the story point, it could be something like this. And if I say story point, it could be combination of multiple things. It could be volume, the volume of work you're doing, plus it could be risk and uncertainty, and uncertainty plus complexity. So all your user stories, your bug, and everything, whatever the developer is working on, you need to calculate your story point based on this. So this is how your story point will be calculated. Just keep this in mind. So I'm just reiterating because I think there was confusion regarding story point. Anyone any doubt still with this story point concept? This is something your Scrum Master will calculate, guys. Don't worry about this. But this is how it will be calculated. Same goes in your example also, like when you being a DevOps engineer, when the user story will be assigned to you, depending upon what task has been assigned. Like if you have given a task to set up the complete infrastructure using infra as a code. Now the complete infrastructure is very huge. You have 100 VMs, you got multiple networking device needs to connect it, you need to define CDNs, you need to define the backend databases. So this is very complex. So one or two story point will not do. Correct, you need to have, this is a huge volume of work which we are talking about, and it may have multiple complexity because you need to set up the front end, you need to set up the back end, you need to set up the connectivity, many things you need to do. And it could have a risk as well, because you don't know whether it will work or not before testing. Okay, so it has some sort of risk and uncertainty as well. So this is based on all this calculation, you will get some sort of number, and that number doesn't matter. It totally depends upon your efforts. Okay, those numbers are basically at the end of your sprint when you sit together for a scrum meeting and the retrospective meeting. At that time, just to show, yeah, this is what we did in order to complete this user story, we took 10 story points. That's 10 story point, meaning could be 10 hours, it could be 10 days, depending upon how the things are calculated. Okay, let's go back to the bug. Okay, so depending upon that, you put your story points over here. I'm putting my story points as 5. Efforts, you can put, this is the actual place where you put your numbers over here. Even in user story, you got task wherein you put your numbers, wherein you put your hours, wherein you justify what you were doing today and how much time it took to complete this task, and eventually after completing all your tasks your user story will get completed. So that is the right place wherein you justify things. Okay, now original estimate, I'm estimating to fix this issue for after 16 hours, but depending upon whether I completed before or completed after, or it took more time, then I can come and edit this also, guys. I can inform my scrum master that this bug is taking more time, we have found something else, so this may take more time. Now if you want to link this with some existing user story, so you can even do that. I can go and link it with my existing user story. Let's suppose design child product page, I found this bug while working on this. You not add, okay, it has a parent link. Okay, I'll link it with something else later. For now, let's leave it. This is how a bug is created, guys. Okay, same goes with issue. You can have a issue created at the top. There's a issue, and you can have a issue created. You can set up the stack rank. So this needs to be done on priority. So you need to set this up on priority 1. Ranking 1. So this needs to be done now itself. That is what it is. So child product page not responding. Not responding. Okay. Something like this. Done. This is what your issue is all about. Okay. So these are the 6 things: epic, feature, user story, task, bug, issue. In Agile, these are the things which you can, work items which you can gauge and which you can keep a track on. Okay, similar to this, if you are working on Scrum, the only thing will change is the naming convention. In place of issue, if it will be impediment. In place of user story, it will be a PBI. That's product backlog item. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so once I am done with this, I can come to this board section. This is purely your Kanban board right now. If you see, it's a Kanban board. You got all the things in the new category. Then you got active category, resolve category, and close category. But if you see, I cannot see anything right now. I'm trying to view user story. I have one user story, correct? We do have one user story, but that is not visible over here. Why it is not visible over here? That is because Victoria says, did you say any issue and a bug will be in a PBI? No, it could be linked, correct? Yeah, if you're creating a separate bug and if you're working it on as a separate bug, it could be, there's no issue, there's no need of linking. But if you want to link, like suppose you were working on some sort of user story or a PBI, for example, and you found out a bug at that point of time, and if you want to link that bug with that user story, it's quite possible. Issue could be dealt separately, but if you want to have some sort of linking done, a parent or a child linking, even that is possible. But yeah, mostly issue would be dealt separately. Bug could be linked with some sort of user story or PBI, maybe or may not be, depending upon how did you identify the bug. Are you taking the bug separately in the next sprint, or are you working on the same bug in the same sprint along with your issue, along with your user story? It's up to the situation, what the developer is doing, how he is working. If it's a small bug, he may relate with the user story and he'll start working on it. Okay, so depends, again, totally depends upon the situation. Okay, now I was saying that I had one user story, but that user story is not visible over here. Plus I also had a feature, like if you want to filter out the feature, let me see, I do see the feature over here, but I don't see the user story. What is the reason? The reason is simple, guys. We have created area, we have divided the area, development and things like that. That is what we did. Now by default, in this board section, you will not get your sub area backlogs. Again reiterating, in your board section, you will not get your sub area backlog. If you want to have your sub area backlog, you need to go into the project settings. You need to go into your project configuration, areas, and look, come over here. Not in areas. Okay, let's go into team configuration and go to areas. And do you see by default only default area is visible, but we got couple of more areas created, correct? So why only default area? Let's change it to include sub areas. When you start including sub areas and when you come back to your board section, you can view everything. See, even your user story is visible now because we are filtering out things from user story. That's why it is visible. Now, what exactly this board is? This is very similar to Kanban board, guys. So this is basically will be giving you all the user story. So Kanban board is basically we are saying that whatever happening in the current sprint. In this board section, you can view everything. All user stories will be visible. So it's not really a Kanban board, but it looks like a Kanban board. I'll show you where exactly the Kanban board is there. But for now, this is very similar to Kanban board. All your user stories and everything will be visible over here. Okay, I'll talk more about this board. And this particular user story has two tasks, even that is visible over here. If you suppose if you add a bug to it, then you can also add a bug. See, I can add a bug, page not working. See, it got directly linked. Now, if you see this bug got linked to the user story. So this is something we can do it directly from here also. Now, I need a bit of data. As I said, I need a data over here. Okay, this is very less. Either we can go and create things manual, or what we can do, we can migrate it from any of my project. So I do have a Excel created, guys. This is the Excel which I have created. Now, how exactly this Excel got created and things like that, that is something we'll discuss later. Now, for now, this is the Excel which is created. It got 36 work item. Now I'm just importing this work item into my current project. Now don't worry, I'll show you how exactly this was created in the end of this session. Don't worry. So I'll go to the import work item. At the top, I can choose my file. So I have my Excel on my desktop. This is the Excel. Now I'll just go and import it. Okay. Now wherever you see exclamation, that means that user story is either closed or it is assigned to someone who is not available in this group. Okay. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Okay. So this exclamation means if you see this error, the field state contain the value clause that is not listed or supported values. So I'll just simply change it to new, save it. The identify value DevOps mailer is not there. So this person is not there. So I'll just go and remove this person. Save it. See, this issue is fixed. Same way, I got multiple other issues. I just have to go and fix these issues. Let me focus more on user stories. So let me get all the user stories. So this is how in reality, when you're migrating your existing board on somewhere else, this is how you need to go and do it, guys. I'm just fixing all this for now. Let's do it for few. Okay, this is where we got multiple changes. This is more than enough. So I'll just save it. All others I ignore it for now. So I'll just go to my work item section. You see, we got good amount of data now to play with. Okay. If I come to the board section, see this? I got all the user stories. So this is basically all the user stories which is there in my board. Everything is getting reflecting. Like suppose you have started working on this user story, simply drag and drop it over here. So if you see the change, it got changed to active. If you want to add any sort of path over here, you can simply go and change. I'll do it on second iterations, or I'll do it on, this is how you will set up areas and everything. This will be done in third iteration, just imagine. Okay, I'm just setting up things for now. Okay, so this is how your board section will look like in reality. So this board section will give you a visibility of all the user story assigned to your team and who is working on what and what is the status of that user story. And this is not just for one or two iteration, this is complete iteration. All the user story basically will be shown over here. And you can simply drag, drop and do your things. Okay, and you can also play around with, if you want to create a new column or anything as such, even that is possible. You can simply go to this gear icon, and if you want to create a new column, a new field, like suppose a column want to create, like suppose you want to create a new column, something testing or QA approval, anything as such. So after testing, you want a QA approval. Okay, this is not taking a space. Okay, do you see at the top you got QA approval category defined? You have QA approval category. You can put things in QA approval also. You are inside in QA approval section. So basically you change your new only, but if you want to create a new one, this was new basically previously. I'll just simply go and create a new one. Why it's giving error? See, I go add a new one. I'll add a approval tab over here. So that is something I've made changes to the existing one. Now I got an approval. This looks good. So I can have all the one which is needing approval over here. So by seeing this, suppose you are the approver. By seeing this category, you will know these are the user stories which needs to be approved. And if you want to highlight this, you can make that customization also. Like for example, you can have some sort of tag color. Development, you put it in yellow. Bug, you put it in red. Then you got R&D, put it in green. Something like this. See this? How it is showing you the tagging now. So all this customization you can do with your boards, and you can have a very good looking board created for yourself, for your team. Okay, you got analytics done over here. So this is again a tool. It's a cumulative flow diagram basically. This is a cumulative flow diagram. This is showing active, this is showing resolve, this is showing, there are three categories: approval, active, resolve. See this approval tab, something you have created. Now you want this flow diagram to be visible to your complete team. You can copy it to your desktop. We have created a desktop, correct, initially. Now you can go to your desktop and you can view this. See that your cumulative flow diagram will be, see, automatically your work assigned to this person is reflecting. And where is your diagram? Will come, see, this is your cumulative flow diagram. So this is how you can start putting things on your desktop. Okay, now this was the board which is viewing everything right now. Now come to this sprint section. Don't get confused by the word sprint. This is still, you're using agile method. This sprint section will give you what exactly a Kanban board is all about. Now this sprint section you can view in your current iteration what all user story is there. This is giving you a glimpse of in your current iteration what all user story is there. Like let me change some more user story to your current iteration. Let me pick this and put it in current iteration. Let me put this in current iteration. Let's come to sprint. Do you see? You got one more user story. So this is basically telling you from 20th March till April to what all user stories are getting deployed. These are the user story, and this bug doesn't have any relation, so it's showing unparented. So this is kind of an orphan bug, but if you want to link it with user story or PBI, you can do it. And you can see these are the user stories which are getting. Now you can create a task directly over here. You can directly create tasks and start working on it. And you can change the state active. You can change it to close. This is how, like suppose being a developer, your user story has been assigned. You can simply come to this section and you can see which user story has been assigned for your current iteration, and you can start creating your task directly and start working on it. This is in reality is your Kanban board, which is telling you in your current iteration what all things you're doing. Okay, so this is again your team board, but this is very specific to current iteration. Now if you want to see what's happening in the second iteration, future iteration, you can see there are 3 user story in your future iteration. What's there in third iteration? You can, there's nothing right now. Okay, this is how you can view things in your sprints. This is what's happening in your current. This is what it will be visible in a pure sense, a Kanban board. Okay, you can see all your backlogs in your current iterations. What is there in your current iteration? You can see all your backlogs over here. You can even see what's there in second iteration 2. Even that is visible over here. See iteration 2 and current iteration. You can, if you want to create a new iteration, you can create directly from here. You don't have to go into project settings and things like that, guys. That was, if you want to create a new iteration, you can simply go and create a new iteration over here. That's it. Automatically the start and end date will be selected, and you will have the 4th iteration created over here. This is where your scrum master can do capacity planning also. Like they suppose there are 10 developers and the developer is taking day off. Like I am taking day, the start will be on 20th. On 20th itself, I'm taking a day off. Okay. So there is one day off, one developer is not there. See the top number of working days. Now suppose imagine your complete team is on picnic on 20th. See the number of days got changed, 9. So this is where you can do the capacity planning, what tasks. So I am assigning this person that you need to spend your development activity 2 days. And you can have some more activity added that you need to spend designing 1 day. You can do add more activity like you want to spend documentation 1 day. Then for testing 1 day. See this. This is also I can do a capacity planning for my team. This is all will be done by Scrum Masters, guys. This is a good to know information for you all. Analytics, again, a burn down chart. This is where the actual burn down chart gets created. So this burn down chart will be more visible when you put all your story point, your number of hours and things like that. Then this will be making more sense. At that point of time, this will make more sense. This is where, based on your capacity planning, based on the numbers which you insert in your user stories and your tasks, this particular thing will look more beautiful, and this can be presented in front of everyone. Okay, so that's why I say the numbers are very important. And if you want to have this burn down chart on your dashboard, you can simply have it on your dashboard also for others to view. So this is where based on your capacity planning, based on the numbers, the working hours, whatever you put, this burn down chart will be more helpful. Okay, this is again for your Scrum Master, which he will be using it. Okay, now there is one section called backlog. This is where all your backlogs will be visible, not based on iteration. This is complete backlog, complete user stories, what all user stories you guys are working on for iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, everything will be visible. Now if I want to move this to iteration 3, I can move it. If I want to move this to iteration 4, I can do it. So this is how directly we can even move things from drag and drop kind of things, which we can do it over here. Okay, now most important task, let me take you to the section which 80% of time you will be working will be this query section. Now this query section comes very handy when you're working on projects. Now what is this? Now on projects you will be responsible for taking care of your release activities. Like when you set up your CI/CD, initially you will be supporting the release activity also. Now if there is a suppose there's a release happening, now how do you know how many user stories are getting released on this particular date? So you'll have a release date kind of structure, or if you know, if you want to filter out how many user story belongs to production category, and all this if you want to filter out, then you need to either go to your work item, go to the top and do the manual effort of filtering out the user story, and then seeing the tag that production, then you find out 2. But this is very easily you were able to do it because you just have a few user story in your work item. But in reality, guys, it will be more than 1000, 2000 user stories. There will be more than 100 epics. So your backlog will be very huge, not this straightforward, not this simple. Frankly, in real time, if you will not even come to this section of work item to see your backlogs, because that will be very huge. In real time, you will be just sticking with this sprint section wherein you're just viewing your user story, and you will be sticking with this query section. And you, if you have created a good looking board for your team and for yourself, then you'll come to this section. That's it. So this query is basically if you want to filter out the same filtration which I did from the work item board. If I want to do it the same over here, how do you do it? I can have this new query created. Now this has the AND and OR operator. So how we have AND gates and OR gates in coding, and it also has grouping method, and it also has clause, different clause you can give. So it's very similar to how you write SQL scripts, like select statement from year to year and this to that. That is something you can do it. Okay, now let me show you how do we work with. So the work item, any, or if you want to just filter out with user story, you can have that also, guys. See, state any, and what do you want? The tags, correct? The tags contain production. Did we not tag anything with production? Why this production is not visible? Let me make it any. We do have production tags, correct? Okay, this area is production, not tag. We haven't selected tag as production. So the area is production. So let's go and filter out with area. Area path. Area path production. Okay, so let's run this. See this, we got 2 user story and 1 task. But if you just want to filter out with user story, you can also do that. Okay, And if you want to add some more category, see this clause. I'm adding one more clause. I'm selecting tags also now. Now I'll select tags as development. Run this query. So I have only one user story which has tag development and which has area path production. So this is again two conditions. The first condition is check for area path production. The second condition is check for tags development. So these two conditions are matching. What is end condition? Both the conditions should match. Then after doing that, I'm getting this one user story. If I do or over here, either of the conditions should match. Either it should be having production area path or it should have development. Either of the conditions should match. See this. How many user stories I'm getting now? This is because if you see this, this has tag and this is matching. This has development tag, it is matching. This category would have a production area path. If you go and open this should see production area path. So this is again matching. Now if you want to see how many user stories assigned to you yourself, like for example being a developer, how many user story has been assigned to you. For example, if I just go and see assigned to, so for me to my team and things like that, this is the end clause. So these are the user stories. These are the work item which has been assigned to this person. Okay. Now, if you want to save this query, there are two categories of saving this query. Let me name this as my query. There are two folders. Either you save it to my queries or you save it to shared queries. Now, if you're keeping things in my query, this will be visible only to yourself. Your team members cannot view your queries. Just keep that in mind. And if you're keeping it in shared queries, then even your team members can view what query you have created. Okay. Now, depending upon the same thing, now in reality, you will filter out things with release date. You'll filter out things with area path. You'll filter out things with the user story which has been assigned to you and things like that. So there are multiple condition, multiple. So you got and or, you got clauses. Like if you want to add some clause, like suppose I want to add area path also over here. Or if you want to add the status, the state which is active. If you want to filter out with state with active, how many user story? See. Now if you want to combine this both together, then there is a grouping at the top. So both this condition got combined. This is called grouping. If I want to ungroup, I can ungroup. If you want to remove, I can remove. So this is what you will be basically working more, filtering out things, getting the right result based on your requirement, filtering out things and getting the right result, and sharing this with everyone if you want. Okay. You can also have a chart created. See, you can have a chart created based on assigned to. This is how you will be based on state. See, you can have bar, column, stack, pivot, everything you can do it. See this. Now, if you want to put this chart on your dashboard, you can put it on a dashboard also. See, if I come to my dashboard section, come down, see this. So by just seeing this board, people will know, okay, there are 5 new user stories, there are 5 active, there is 1 resolved, 1 closed. This is also a very good looking. This is how your dashboard will keep on growing, guys. Just keep that in mind. And query, this is the section which you will be using a lot. Now just viewing at the left hand side, you have the list and you can view what exactly is there in the list. Okay, if you want to view what exactly the user story is all about, you can view inside the user story. If you want to change the category, you can come and change it this way. Okay, so this, and how exactly did I create this Excel? If I come back to the query query part again. I have my query now. If I run the query, there is an option export to CSV. This is where this Excel got created. The only thing is I just removed this IDs from my Excel. When you export to CSV, you'll have this IDs also. And when you're migrating, then if you're migrating with the ID, you will get error because it's going to a totally different project. The different project will have a different set of IDs created automatically. So this ID needs to be removed when you're creating for migration purpose. So if you see, I don't have the ID section over here. So just keep that in mind, okay? Last option what we have it over here is delivery plan. The delivery plan is basically not for DevOps engineer, not for developers. This is basically for product owners and Scrum Master. This is for them who takes care of multiple projects at once. So your Scrum Master would be working with multiple people, multiple projects, and if they want to have a 360 view, like how many user stories are there, what is the current iteration, what is the past iteration, if they want to have a 360 view, then they can have this delivery plan created for themselves. So once you create a plan, you will be able to visualize and track work across all your teams, all your projects, all your teams. How exactly it happens? Let me show you. So this is work item across team. Just name it whatever name you want to give. Now this is for your Valaxy DevSecOps. This is your current project. You want to view all the stories. Let's add one more project. So I got one more project, DevSecOps, and you want to view the stories for them also. Let's see this. Now you got this current project, you got this project. Both the project iterations are visible right now. So for the second project, there's a current second iteration going on, and for your Valaxy DevSecOps, we have not even started the first iteration. So this is kind of a complete visibility across all your teams. Okay, so this is mainly for Scrum Masters and Product Owner, not for DevOps engineers, because DevOps engineer will be working on one project at a time, not multiple projects. Okay, so that's it from the board section, guys. So this is mainly a good to know information for you guys, because you'll be working on user story. The user story will be assigned to you, and mainly you'll be working on user story, and you'll be working on this queries part a lot. So just go and try to make your hand dirty and try to run this query, try different ifs and buts, try different conditions and see what results you're getting, how you're getting, and try to understand this query. There are only two things: end gate, or gate, and you got a group clause. That's it. End gate is if both the conditions are true, then you get the output. Or gate, if any of the conditions are true, then you get the output. Okay, so just keep this in mind and try to understand this query end to end by yourself. Go through it during this weekend. We got two major topics covered. We got Git covered and we got boards covered. Try to complete this on Monday, that is India time, guys. For US student, it will be Sunday night. We'll discuss branching and merging strategy first. Then Tuesday onwards, we'll start with the first project, wherein we'll be creating a ASP.NET web application and we'll create the first build pipeline. Mainly we'll do it on Tuesday, because Monday I'll spend time explaining you the branching and merging strategy. How do we set up branching and merging strategy? So that's it for me. If anyone has any questions, any doubt, please do let me know before we wind up the call for today. Anyone, guys, any doubt? No doubt? Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Let's meet up on Monday and let's continue with this topic. Bye bye.